Hi guys, it's Jaden. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about health anxiety. For those of you who don't know what that is being really obsessed and worried and fearful of health issues, and can just be very obsessive over symptoms, bodily sensations and all that. And it's not fun. It's a lot of stress when you are dealing with this. And so throughout my life, I've always dealt and was challenged with having OCD, which is kind of like obsessive compulsive disorder. That's what they call it. And it's just, it stems from my perfectionist personality. So I developed at a young age this kind of chronic need to have everything perfect and very just nitpicky and obsessive over neatness, germs, and it creates a lot of anxiety and stress. That has nothing to do with my actual health crash recovery that I talk a lot about on my channel. This is just something that's totally well managed. I am a function, it doesn't really get in the way of my life, but it is something that's a challenge that I've dealt with since I was very young. But with the health crash that I had a couple years back now, which thank God again I am totally recovered from, that it brought me this extra bonus, which was I developed in the beginning of it health anxiety. And so I started to get really obsessed with every symptom. And as you guys know, with this health crash, adrenal fatigue, HPA axis dysfunction, anxiety disorder, panic attacks, this whole family of health issues and balance that I went through causes hundreds, thousands even of symptoms, different sensations of the body, from the fight or flight, chronic fight or flight mode that your body is in. So what had happened was, because the experience was so traumatic, and there was a lot of heart palpitation symptoms that I've talked about, and also you're in chronic fight or flight state, fight or flight nervous system, right? That sympathetic nervous system. So I developed this obsession and this fear of every new sensation, every new symptom. I would think that it's going to kill me, or it's going to cause me a lot of torture and suffering. And I started just thinking that it was the worst disease out there when the symptom was just anxiety symptoms. And that is a huge part of this health crash recovery process. Because most of us that I've talked to anyways ends up getting, if they don't already have health anxiety to begin with. So what happens is you start to get obsessed. Every new symptom, like an eye symptom pops up, you're like, oh, it's cancer, or it's a brain tumor, or I'm going blind. Or, if you have the trembling and shaking, then it's oh, it's Parkinson's, it's MS, it's ALS, it's whatever. You just try to think of the worst. And I think the mindset for me, with that is because you almost want to set yourself up for the worst so you don't get surprised. At least that's what I was at the time, being this way. It was I was so full of fear, and because I was just going through such a hard experience, and the health crash was so exhausting to deal with, and it put me in fight or flight all the time. So I was in that panic mode anyway, hormonally. So I was very prone to these fearful and just panicky thoughts. So it was just every symptom that would happen, it would be oh, it's the worst. And I would just think of whatever worst possible case scenario. It's almost like me trying to save myself the surprise. I didn't want to be surprised by it. So I wanted to think of what could worse it could possibly be. And it was just, in retrospect, none of it was that. And I caused myself so much more anxiety and stress and suffering by going through that loop of obsession over symptoms and getting freaked out, and then it's nothing, and then the loop would start again when a new symptom comes around, and so on and so on. And I know a lot of you go through this. half of my questions are, I can tell, like my comments and questions that I get stem from that state of mind where you're just, afraid, and because you don't know what this is, and anxiety and this adrenal fatigue causes so many symptoms that, like, you're just like, what could it be now? And and a lot of these symptoms, like I said, are linked to a lot of like serious health issues, like the heart palpitations, heart attack or heart failure, or blood sugar issues, lupus or whatever. I mean, it's just, you can link all these symptoms, and Google doesn't help, because nowadays we want to know things, so we Google. But most of us don't know that the Google is going to pull like the most sought after dramatic thing, because that's just the way the algorithm is. So you end up Googling a symptom and it pulls up all these deadly scary things, and that doesn't help, right? And when your health anxiety gets to a certain point, it starts to be very irrational. Okay, so like you can even go get reassurance from a doctor, and then you'll just second guess, like, oh no, the doctor overlooked this. They'll tell you, no, you're fine. Like, this is just stress symptoms, or you can't find anything really serious wrong with you. Just get some rest. And you almost can't take that answer, because you're like, no, like I have to prevent like something serious. I just, because you're obsessed. And in that mindset, you can't be rational and you can't calm down. And that's what causes, at least that's what caused me to continue to be obsessed and fearful and research, and like, until like I was so low, and just dealing with just the health crash side was already tough enough. And then to add the health anxiety stress on top of it, I just finally hit a point where I was like, I can't do this, Jaden. Like, I told myself, okay. And I thought, okay, what is the worst? Is death or suffering? And then I had to be really honest with myself. Like, if that were to happen, can't really stop it, right? And so me being stressed like this is not going to make that any less. And I went to the doctor like nothing was happening. I knew it was all in my head, and I knew it was because I was so fearful, and I was hit with this new health crash experience that I was taken back. And then suddenly I had developed this health anxiety thing where I was questioning everything. It was just like this constant, like, oh, what's this? Oh, what's this next thing? Oh, what's this sensation? Oh, what's this numbness and tingling? Oh, what's this new ache? And I finally had to put my foot down. And guys, we all have, I'm not the only person who can do this, okay? I successfully got over the health anxiety and don't have anymore, because I put my foot down and said that I wasn't going to do this anymore. And I know it sounds so like, oh, that's not the best advice, or that's just like not that helpful, but it really is, guys, because you can get a million kind of reassurance that to calm this fear and this obsession, all it'll do is it'll feed into it and temporarily kind of detour you and distract you. And as soon as the next emotion comes or the next symptom comes along, you're going to be just as scared and fearful, and you're going to jump right back into the, what is this? Oh, could this be this? Oh no, I overlooked it last time, and now it's worse because I put it off the side. No, guys, like, before I go any farther, of course, I'm not a doctor, therapist, or a nurse. Okay, I'm not here to diagnose, treat you, or cure you of anything. This is just my experience, and I've had it bad, guys. I've struggled with like OCD stuff throughout my life, and then I had this full-on intense 2 years of that health crash thing along with the health anxiety. So I get it, guys, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you who are watching this video are nodding your head like, yeah, that's how I feel. That's exactly how I feel, and I don't know how to express it. And it's because I went through it, and I went through it so bad to the point where you just have to let go. Because if life, you're choosing to be this stressed out, it's just not that enjoyable, even when you are alive, you know? So I just had to finally come to decision with myself. And this kind of goes along with one of the videos I made about the root of fear that I discover. Again, it's like, if, you know, I die or I fall very ill, there's, you know, I'm already doing all I can to be the happiest, the healthiest that I can be, and taking my precautions and everything. That's all I can do. Beyond that is out of my control. And to obsess over something you have no control over and torture yourself while you're alive and have this beautiful planet to explore and to like go after what you want, you're kind of gypping yourself. Like you know, you're not making the best of your life. And that's kind of what I pep talked myself, and I was just processing through it myself, and I just made a decision. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do this anymore. I've done the best I can research-wise. I know logically and rationally what is up, which is I was fine. I had anxiety, and these are anxiety symptoms. I've already gotten checked out by medical professionals that I trusted multiple times. Every one of them says I was perfectly healthy. It's a lot of stress I'm going through, a lot of mental stress, and also hormones are out of whack because of the chronic stress that I've been putting myself through. That was it. And I had to take that and gave up the control. Because you know what? If you're going to die, which is an inevitable destination that we're all hitting, you know, unfortunately, because we're humans, and you've done all you can, you got to let it go and live, guys. It's like, focus on the good stuff and live. And that is the tough love that I gave myself, and I'm kind of sharing. I'm not saying that that's what the choice you should do. I'm not here to tell anybody to do anything. This is just my experience. You know, I finally had to let it go and just trust and be okay with the parts that I have no control over. It was just like, okay, if I did my best and I'm doing my best and I'm enjoying my life, and my life ends up however it unfolds, I have to take that and accept it, because I have no control over it otherwise. And torturing myself over things I have no control over is pretty much like suffering while you're alive anyways, to the like highest degree for me. So I gave it up. It was really hard. Took a lot of definitely inner strength and facing a lot of these fears. My main one is being out of control, and let it go. And then things started to turn around. And as I gave my attention to what was working out and what I knew was logical, and all the stuff I wanted to do, and that I was okay, and it started gaining momentum in that direction versus the obsessive direction. And I, like with my health crash recovery, I started my healing, got to phase 4. Check out my phases video if you don't know what I'm talking about. And then I reached full recovery. The health anxiety went away, and as an added bonus, on the good side, a huge part of my OCD went away with it. Like, it got rebalanced. And it was because I was able to finally let go of certain things that were super dominant and super like negative in my, you know, in my whole being. Now, I still do have some OCD stuff. I'm still very organized and obsessively organized with my stuff. My personal, like, my clean hygiene is very obsessive for most people. I mean, it's not like as good as it gets, that movie Crazy, but you know, it's more than the average. But a lot of the other struggles with OCD like went away because of this whole experience with getting over this health anxiety stuff and getting over this fear stuff and just living, like putting that energy on just living, you know. And I'll say this, like, that feeling that you get when you can't move on with like an obsessive thing like health anxiety or OCD, like for me, it had to do with perfectionism. It was like I didn't want to go forth unless I was perfect in the ways that I was thinking I was, you know, perfect. I don't mean like perfect in somebody else's perfection sense, just what I felt like I wanted to have going forward. And if I didn't have that, I couldn't go forward. It was like, again, the perfectionism thing, all or nothing thing. And I had to get over it. It was just like, okay, I'm going to live and enjoy what I can enjoy. It's not perfect. And there are variables and there are things I can't control, but I'm going to continue to go on and see what happens and see who shows up and see how things work out for me. And it has been working out extremely well. And still, again, I'm still living moment to moment, and you know, who knows how my future will unfold, but I will hold the best of intentions, do the best I can in the moment, enjoy my life the best I can, be happy the best I can. Of course, I have my contrast moments, I have my downsides, I have tons of negative stuff that I work on every day, but I think the acceptance of being okay with that and continue to work on that and just trying to make the best of whatever situation is really awesome. And it helps me feel overall much better and much more happy as a person and much more confident and secure and not need to control, and therefore not getting the entrapment of that obsessive health anxiety thing, and a major part of my OCD as well. And it definitely helped me get over this health crash recovery, because letting go of all that stress really helps, guys. So I thought I'd share this. It's a huge thing going on with my Facebook group and my channel. It is this health anxiety thing that comes with this type of health crash. It comes with anxiety disorder. It's just you get obsessive over these symptoms. That is a huge part of my insight about the subject. I hope you enjoy this video and maybe it helped you in some way or inspired you in some way. And I know you guys are all doing super well, all of you guys. I know we're all doing our best, and just see how your life will magically unfold for you. All right, thanks guys. Have a great day, and I'll see you next one. Bye.